Yes, every phase of your cycle. We are going to learn how to sync up your wellness practices with each phase of your cycle. So, we know that there's a bunch of wellness practices that we can be doing all the time. I myself have found that there are days where I want to wake up at 5 a.m., meditate, pray, read my Bible, do my Bible study, say my affirmations, journal, then stretch, go for a walk or a run, or work out, weight lift, do Pilates, meditate again, do some breath work, and eat a healthy meal. Do all these things that are supposed to be wellness practices, which keep us nice and happy and healthy. And because of the times that we are in that are so productivity based, we feel like we have to just be on go, 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 go all the time. But I found that there are certain wellness practices that I sway to during the different phases of my cycle. And I'm here to share those with you so that if you feel overwhelmed, just know that there are ways that you can still, within the month, within your cycle, get in so much wellness, so much self care and self love without feeling overwhelmed, without feeling like you got to do every single thing. So, let's get started with the menstrual phase, right? Our winter, during our periods, we feel super wintry, hibernating. We want to be hibernating. We want to lay down, watch Netflix, maybe even snack on some things we don't usually snack on. We want to be cozy and all of this. So during this phase, we are releasing lots of emotions, lots of tension and stress, and anything that we have been through during the phases prior. And so we have a built-in detox into our system. How cool is that? Women have a natural detox where we just get to bleed, and that blood gives us life. And so when we are releasing that blood, it is just the things that we need to let go of and waste that is coming out of us. And so our hormones are very low during this time. That is what triggers our uterine lining to shed, is that our hormones, progesterone and estrogen, those two, they fall. And so during this time, to help release, the first wellness practice that I have for you is to dance and focus specifically on hip movement. If you have heard that the hips store trauma, that is true. Do a nice stretch where you are opening your hips or training your hip flexors, and you will feel the difference in your energy, the difference in how you just feel lighter after you move your hips, stretch those hips, and dance. So help your body release by moving and dancing. Do your favorite dance, twerk, get crunk, do the grown man, do whatever dance moves are fun for you. I love to samba. I need to work on my samba, but I have been listening to bossa nova, which is a type of jazzy music from Brazil. And so I have been back into samba recently, but do whatever dance feels good for you. Sometimes I just move my body to my favorite movements, and I find myself leaning towards this when I am on my period because it just feels good. And during your period, you can kind of fall into staying still and not moving, which isn't that great for your body. You need to keep moving somehow, some way. And so dancing is a fun way to do that while also benefiting your release during this time of release and flow. So get your body flowing during your flow. The second practice is to prioritize sleep. We all know that sleep is a huge priority in wellness. And again, we are in a time where productivity is glamorized. So sometimes we do not honor how our body feels and how we want to sleep. And as women, it is especially important for us to sleep during this time. We are losing blood. So there are certain minerals and vitamins that we may need extra of, and we might feel tired because of it. So getting that sleep is key. Schedule in naps during your day and go to bed earlier if you need to, wake up later if you need to, and don't feel guilty about it. The third practice during your menstrual cycle is to say affirmations. Yes. During our cycles, we can kind of get down. Sometimes we're up, but maybe those first couple days we might need a boost in our self-esteem and in our confidence. So saying affirmations is really going to bring us there. And also, if you are someone who struggles to love being on your cycle, like me, I struggle with that because sometimes it's painful and I just rather be in my productivity, honestly, but our body needs that rest. So affirmations that you can say to help you get there and really take that time, that period to really fall in love with rest and recovery. You can say something like, I love being on my period. I love being on my period. Something just simple like that to get you in the mindset of loving being on your period. And also, you can give yourself a hug while you say that. Like, I love being on my period. Or hug your womb. I love being on my period. And that action plus that affirmation is going to help your brain and body, that mind body connection, register that you actually do love being on your period, because you have it for a reason. God gave us this natural time to detox for a reason. We go through a lot, okay? Another affirmation is rest and recovery increase my beauty. Another one is every day is an opportunity to show myself love and get at least 1% better. So these don't have to be period related affirmations, whatever makes you feel good. Sometimes I simply tell myself I am okay. Because when my mind is buzzing and those thoughts are just going, I have to tell myself I am okay. Now, after our period is done, it's a good time, right? We had that time of the month. It is over, thank God. Now we move on to our spring, our follicular phase, okay? Follicular, we got that F, and we're going to be feeling flirty and frolicky during our follicular phase. So this time is, for me, it feels like a renaissance. It feels like everything's new. I'm feeling fresh after all that releasing. I'm feeling energized. I'm ready to get back into workouts. I'm ready to do some things. My energy is picking back up, right? You might feel so good during this time that you feel like you don't even need to do any wellness practices. Like, I'm good all day. I don't need to do anything to feel good. But we do, right? So we need to feel good, and we need to do these practices for later when we might not feel so good. They're going to help pick us back up later. So the first one is one of my favorites, and it's to take a bath. Take a bath. I mean, some people take baths every single day, maybe one day, but I take a bath after I clean my bathroom, because the bathroom's clean, the tub is nice and clean, so I get to take a nice bath. And the follicular phase is a perfect time to take a bath and just feel so warm and cozy. And set the space up nice for yourself. Dim the lights, add some candles, get your book, your iPad, get you a cup of tea, something to wind down, maybe a little snack if you didn't brush your teeth yet. Just do something nice for yourself and take a bath. The second practice is a yoni steam. If you do not know what a yoni steam is, and if you do not know what a yoni is, your yoni is your vagina, your private area, the vulva. So then there's the whole thing. We call our vulvas our vagina, but really the vagina is just the hole. But when you're steaming your yoni, you are steaming that hole. So yoni steaming is basically getting a pot of water, boiling that water, adding herbs to the water once it boils, but you turn the water off after it boils, so you're not boiling the herbs. They're just kind of put in the water as the water's boiling and coming to a stop. Let that sit for 10 minutes. Then you want to pour the water and the herbs into a nice bowl, and then you want to place the bowl on the floor and kind of squat over it. Put a blanket around yourself and trap the steam and kind of just sit for 15 to 30 minutes. Just sit while the steam and the herbs, all those amazing properties, are just healing and detoxing and cleansing your yoni. This is a perfect thing to do during the follicular phase because your period just ended, so you need to kind of clean whatever might be left or just getting everything kind of good, right? I like to do this 3 or 4 days after my menstrual cycle ends, and it's great. Some of the herbs that I like to use are calendula, which is anti-inflammatory. I love lavender, which is just amazing, smells so good. And I love rose, makes me feel really feminine. And you can use whatever herbs you like as long as they have the benefits that you are seeking. So this is such a fun practice, and it feels so good, and you feel so clean, and it really helps with menstrual cramps. It helps with blood clots and things like that. So yoni steam during your spring. Now, the next wellness practice to do more of during your follicular phase is reading. Reading during this time is going to be crucial because the next phase is the ovulatory phase, which is where all our creativity comes. So if you're reading during your follicular phase and gathering all these ideas that are going to kind of get, in your mind and kind of marinate in your mind and just fill you with so much juicy ideas, and your ovulatory phase comes and you got this idea, that idea. So reading during this time is great, and it helps you whether you read fiction or nonfiction. So if you're reading fiction, then you might be able to see some cool things in your life that are happening in the books. That happens to me often when I read fiction. There are parallels in the book in my life. I'm just like, wow, this is showing up in my life. Wow, this is cool. So cool. And with nonfiction, I love nonfiction. Honestly, I read mostly nonfiction because I am a self-development woman, and so reading those books just helps me feel motivated, right? Gets me excited for the rest of my phases, especially after being on the menstrual cycle. When I'm down a little bit, that follicular phase picks me up in the books, and reading those books, getting that information really is a great way to give me a boost during this springtime, right? And here is a bonus. wellness practice that we might not see as a wellness practice, but it really is. And that is cleaning. Clean your space. Clean your space. And just clean. All right? Clean your room. Clean the bathroom. It is your spring cleaning. Boom. Now let's move on to our summer, our ovulatory phase. Yes, we are ovulating. And this, as a woman, you just know when you're ovulating. It's just like, it's so obvious. It's so obvious. You wake up and you're like, whoa. You're stretching a little more sensually. When you wake up, it's like, just like, I'm feeling a little sexy today. What's going on? And so during your ovulatory phase, right, your body is wanting to mate. And so you have a little kick of testosterone, and that testosterone is driving you to want to mate a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? And so your levels of confidence go up, and you feel more social, and you actually will look in the mirror and see yourself as prettier. I don't know the science behind that, if our features change during this time or something, but you'll look in the mirror and be like, whoa, like my face looks real cute today. So ovulating is very fun. And this high lasts a few days, so you better use it up while you can. And during this time, since we want to mate, that is basically our sexual and creative energy just bursting inside of us, just hot. So go ahead and do some art. Do some art. Practice any art form that you like. Just get your creativity out into the world. Do not keep it inside of you. You can paint on a canvas. You can draw, sketch, do pottery, do poetry, whatever art form is your favorite or whatever's calling you at the time. I love all different types of art, and it doesn't even matter what it is. Whatever I'm feeling drawn to, I will do in that time. The next one is journaling, right? You have so many ideas during this time, so much creativity. So ask yourself deep questions or questions about your future self and see what comes out of you, because you are vibrating so high right now with all that creative energy. So it's going to be a little bit easier for you to connect with your highest self. You're already high, like you have lots of energy because you have that creativity wanting to come out of you. Okay, so there's so many different types of journal prompts or styles of journaling. Pick what works for you. I like to do different ones, and so I'll ask myself questions such as, my ideal self, who does she surround herself with, and how does she spend her time, what places does she go to, things like that. I get a lot of journal prompts from Pinterest. I love Pinterest. So boom, journal. Last for the ovulatory phase is stretching. Yes, stretch your body. Get really deep into those stretches. Stretching has so many benefits, and when we stretch, and especially deep stretching, we release stuck emotions that can be stuck in our fascia. Fascia is connective tissue that we have throughout our body. I explain more about fascia in a video I made called How to Activate Your Honey Energy, and so I'll put that in the description for you. And our fascia is really important and overlooked, so we definitely need to do deep stretching. And stretching also increases flexibility, which is perfect during our ovulatory phase when we feel super sexy, right? Because flexibility is sexy. Period. Period. Flexibility is sexy. Okay, we are on to our fall. Ooh, the fall. Now, for me, the beginning of my fall is good because it's the end of my ovulatory phase and I'm stepping into that luteal phase, which is the fall. And so I don't even really feel it that much. I don't feel it that much. But then sometimes a week before my period comes, I'll get cramps. Like, oh girl, it's 7 days. In 7 days, you're gonna drip. So then I get that cramp and I'm like, oh snap, I'm in my luteal phase. She's here. And then all of a sudden, things start irritating me. The smallest things. Like, why is there a little spot of grape juice in the sink? Like, when you could run the water and get rid of that, why would you leave it there? That was super random. But that's just an example of how small things can irritate me during this time. Now, sometimes it doesn't happen, and that's the thing with the luteal phase. The luteal phase for me is a time of chaos. There's a little bit of chaos here because my mind is in several different places. She's going all over the place. It's like you want to be up because you were just up with your ovulatory phase, but actually you're about to be down because you're about to enter your menstrual phase. So it's kind of like a roller coaster. But that's why we have our wellness practices, okay? And during this time, the first wellness practice is to meditate. You want to lean into meditation during your luteal phase because it is going to keep you sane. It's going to keep your mind right. Right? During our luteal phase, a lot of women experience, maybe low self-esteem, or your confidence is just not as high. You are just not as happy as you usually are or want to be, and you kind of feel like something's wrong with you. Like, hey, what's going on? Why am I feeling like this? But really, you're just in your luteal phase. So check your calendar. If you don't have a period calendar, definitely get one. I've been using this one for years. It's called P Tracker. And I want to show y'all this one right here. P Tracker. It's a little flower. I've been using that for years. It's very simple, the way I like it. Just shows you your stuff. Calendar. It's great. I tried 28 for a bit, which was pretty cool, but it's not as accurate as that app. For me, the P Tracker, 28 wasn't as accurate for me, and also it was a little too much. Sometimes it was, it gives you a lot of different information, and it kind of tells you what you might want to eat or types of movements you might want to do during each phase of your cycle, depending on even on the day that you're at. And I like this sometimes, but also I don't like being told what to do. That is a real issue that I have. And so the app telling me, I know this is gonna sound crazy. What phase am I in? But I don't like being told what to do. So why is the app telling me like, oh, this type of workout or meal is going to be great for you during that time? I understand you have science and all that, but you don't know me. You don't know me in specific. I want to do this today. And then it also tells you how you might be feeling, which sometimes if you agree, it's cool. But if you don't agree, it's not. It's sort of like a horoscope where if the horoscope you agree with, that's cool. But if you don't, it's like, why are you even saying that? So meditate. Okay, your girl has been doing meditation because she is in her luteal phase. So meditate, ease your mind. There's different types of meditation to do. You can visualize, you can say a mantra, you can simply just breathe and try to get into that theta state. and just breathe. You can do a guided meditation, so many different ways to meditate. I love meditation. It can be hard to get into, but all you need to focus on is bringing your thoughts back. If your mind strays, bring it back and you'll be good. The next wellness practice is gratitude. Gratitude is really good during the luteal phase, because when things kind of, get crazy and go awry, bring yourself back to reality. Bring yourself back into connection with God through gratitude. You might feel unhappy or ungraceful or something like that. And gratitude is really just gonna help you see how good things are, put things into perspective, and just make you feel good. Being grateful for things makes me feel good. So let's practice gratitude right now. Let me think of one thing that I'm super grateful for today, and you think of one thing that you are super grateful for today and put it in the comments. Let me think. There's so many things, but I would say today I am really grateful for that moment I had earlier, and specifically my candle, because the candle really romanticized the moment. It just made it a super vibe, and I lit my candle as I was getting ready for the day, and I stretched, and it was just smelling good in the room. It was so good. So I'm really grateful for that moment, to be with myself even before I touched any technology. Just lit my candle, had the fire. It's just a vibe. Okay, so make sure you put what you're grateful for in the comments. Just one thing. This is good for you, and you're gonna feel good once you see something that you are genuinely grateful for and appreciate. Now, the last wellness practice for the luteal phase is forgiveness and prayer. So, this is a great time to feel, because you are feeling. The luteal phase, you are feeling a lot of things. And so when you're feeling a lot of things, you need to pray and bring them to God, especially if those things make you feel uneasy. And practicing forgiveness will allow you to set some of your energy free, like free up some room within yourself, and you can forgive yourself and also forgive others. I do this a lot during my luteal phase, because sometimes, which I know we're not supposed to do, and I'm working on that, I lash out like a little bit, just a little bit. I lash out. I'll say something super spicy. It's like, girl, you did not have to be that spicy. You did not have to say things that way. And as much as I'm okay with that, because I know myself and I'm okay with every single part of myself, I still see that I could have phrased things better, and have just said something more kind while still saying something that is true to who I am. So I ask for forgiveness, and I forgive myself also, because I know that I'm always growing. I know that I'm always getting better and better. And I also know that you don't try me during my luteal phase, because if you try me, you're going to get hit with some spice. But we got to give it to God. We bring it to God, because God helps me to see that I can get better, and I actually can get better. Like, God helps me to see that with Him, through Christ, I can do all things. So if I want to get better, I totally can. And prayer connects me more deeply with God. Just talking to God about anything that's coming up, anything that's bothering me. And I want to make this note, because I see posts like this and I totally agree. So it's like you ask God for strength. And I'll use myself as an example. I've asked God for strength, and next thing you know, I got the flu. And during the flu, if you have the flu, you are weak. Weak, weak, weak. You can't move. Sometimes when you have the flu, if someone was to come and attack you, they would have it. For me, when I have the flu, someone tries to attack me, they got it. I'm done. So when I feel super weak like that and get out of it, I feel way stronger. And honestly, my body is way stronger because it's able to fight whatever virus or whatever I had, and it didn't die. Therefore, it is stronger because of it. So sometimes if you ask God for strength, you might feel weak for a certain period of time, and that's just making you stronger. If you ask God for wisdom, a loved one might come to you with a problem or with, something might go wrong in your relationship or something like that. But in helping someone find a solution or finding a solution for whatever happens in your relationship, you get wiser. So what we ask for doesn't always look like what we think it will, but we still receive it. And sometimes you do just get stronger, right? Sometimes it's like, oh, that temptation was right in front of me and I didn't even notice it. But sometimes the temptation, noticing it, is what is making you stronger. Just a little note. So we have all of our wellness practices throughout your different phases, and let's just run through them one more time. Okay, so during your menstrual phase, you're going to want to dance and move those hips. You're going to want to prioritize sleep and say your affirmations. During the follicular phase, take baths, do yoni steams, and read. So take baths, do yoni steams, and read during your follicular phase. During your ovulatory phase, you want to do art, journal, and practice stretching. Finally, during your luteal phase, meditate, do gratitude, pray, and ask for forgiveness, and forgive yourself as well. If you practice all these things, you will be feeling healthy and happy. And also, I recommend doing whatever feels good and right for you at whatever time you want to do it. Whatever type of wellness practice you need to implement in the moment, that specific day or week, do what you do. If you do all these things every day, do what you do. Do what feels right for you. This is just a fun way to cycle sync your wellness practices. And if you're interested in reading about this, if you are a person who learns through writing versus videos or audio, I have a blog post on this, which I will link. And I also have a really cute chart with all of the wellness practices we talked about, as well as the different phases which they are in. So that chart and everything is in the blog post, and I'll link that for you. I hope you have an amazing, amazing week and day, and stay golden.